Happy Thursday, everybody. This is Hadley, and I am here with those great and wonderful, sexy men from Watching Weird, Mr. Rich Restucci and Alan Gamboa.
Ah, I had to watch where you're poking.
Wow. Don't make the noise like the Pillsbury Doughboy. I'll giggle. Well, the infamous Scott Baker is on tour this week. I believe he's at AuthorCon, so if anyone out there is in the neighborhood, be sure to go by and see him and many of our wonderful friends from over at Horror Writers Inc. And I think Jay Brower, I think I saw where he was on his way.
Yeah. I forgot who else is going, but I know those two are.
Yeah, I didn't know anybody else that was going. But yeah, I didn't know Jay was going. Hey, Mike Lewis is in the house. Hey, Mike.
Hey, Mike.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and put it out there. This week sucked.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't. I don't.
And that's okay. That's what makes this fun.
Yes.
Yeah. Dragged Across Concrete was I had wanted to see it. I'd heard really good reviews about it. And it is, it takes a long time to get to where you're hooked. But once you're hooked, I think that, you want to know what's going to happen next.
Yeah. So. Do you want to introduce that one, Hadley?
Sure. I'm not very well prepared, but I will do it for sure. So it stars Mel Gibson and Vince Vaughn, and Don Johnson's in it, and a number of other people who I can't think of. But pretty much it's the repertoire between the cops, which would be Vince Vaughn and Mel Gibson, which I really liked. I liked to watch them playing off of each other. And I know that it was very deadpan, but man, it kind of showed some Mel Gibson versatility. He usually plays a much more animated and enthusiastic actor. And he was just so even kill on this. I just really liked it. And I love Vince Vaughn in pretty much everything. So it was a good one for me on some levels. On others, like I said, it took a long time to get off the mark. But what'd you think, Alan?
Well, yeah, because Rich has a different take on it. So, hey, Ash, hey, Landa.
Hey, guys.
Hey, guys.
This one, it took about 20 minutes to get it going. And it's got all kinds of people in this movie, and they're holding up this, I can't think of the actor's name, but I think he was in Resident Evil. I think he played one of the
Tory Kittles.
He was in True Detective.
Michael J. White.
Michael Jai White, yeah.
Guy White, yeah. Different role, because usually he's the lead action hero in that one. It wasn't. This one, it's trying to be like a Tarantino flick with the dialogue. It had some good dialogue in it. Some not so good dialogue, but it had some good dialogue in it. It really built up the characters in it. You really got the cops weren't just bad guy, good guys. There was more to them. The bad guys had more to them, except for the ones that they were trying to rob. Those guys were like a mystery. You didn't really know what was going on with those guys.
Yeah, and that was that's kind of the hook where it got me was I was waiting to see how all the pieces were going to fit.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't see how they were going to do it. And it ended up working. It also had Jennifer Carpenter in it, which I recognized her from Dexter.
Right. If you blink
briefly, yeah.
Yeah, they build her character up, and then but it's still the way. Well, this was written by the guy that did Brawl and Cell Block 9, I think, with Vince Vaughn. If you've ever seen that movie, it's like the grindhouseiest B movie. I mean, You know, the bloody parts in this, that whole movie, Brawl and Cell Block 9, is just a continuous bloody, and it ends like this movie. And he did Bone Tomahawk too, which Bone Tomahawk, that's a good, it's a good movie, but it's a downer, you know,
yeah,
for
sure is, yeah.
But
well, this one was kind of morose. I mean, it had some really tough subject matter that was playing out in the characters' lives.
Yeah.
You had, and I'm going to spoil this for whoever. Sorry, guys. It had Jennifer Carpenter, who works at a bank and she has postpartum depression, and her husband is physically making her leave the house because she has not left the house since the baby's born. So, like Alan said, you think she's going to be a big part of it. Well, her big part is she gets kidnapped by the bank robbers.
No, she doesn't.
It wasn't her?
No. Oh, no.
She gets absolutely shot in the face.
Yeah.
After they blow her hands off.
Yeah.
She got very dead inside the bank.
And she's holding the baby's booty, blood, all bloody.
Yeah. My kid's name, will you make sure he gets this? My kid's name is whatever it was. And they're like, yeah, you're dead. Yeah.
I must have blinked and missed that.
Oh, yeah, you had to blink because it was quick. It was just like, where'd she go? You know, they brought her in for 5 minutes and they build up her character. And
I got up to get a beer and I came back and I'm like, what? She's dead? What? So I had to rewind it and I'm like, she's very dead. They didn't kill the fighter. Yeah. So, yeah.
And did you recognize Laurie Holden?
Yeah, I did. She had MS in the movie. I thought she got shot because she was a cop, you know, and that's why she was talking like that. She had MS. So
that's what and what I liked is it had their daughter actually liked her parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I like that, and that was again is another piece of it was that Mel Gibson's wife is a retired police officer because she has a medical issue, which was Parkinson's or MS. It was something. Amen. And then you have the daughter is being bullied and to the extreme bullied around the neighborhood, and they're a white family in an urban area, and so she's being threatened, and they're kind of scared that she's going to end up being raped, so they're wanting to get out of the neighborhood, but they don't make enough money.
Right. And that to me that kind of like for an LA cop, they make good money. So that part was kind of like, nah, unless you had to live in a radius, where you have to live in a 15, 20 miles within your where you're working, but they make good money. But yeah, that was it's a bigger movie than you think it is. And Vince Vaughn is great. And that dude's huge.
He's a big
like,
so it does take a minute to. I'm sorry. Are you done?
Oh, I was gonna say a buddy of mine, actually a guy I work with. He met Vince Vaughn back in the '90s, and he's 6'1", and Vince 6'5". How tall are you, Rich?
I'm 6'4". 6'4" today. I'll be 6'5" tomorrow.
You guys are huge. These guys. But when he's laying there with the sniper rifle, it's like, holy crap! There's no room. But the blood, I mean, it was extreme gore in this. When they're cutting through that one guy's stomach to get the key to the car, that was pretty gross.
Pretty vicious.
Yeah,
it was.
So it had a lot going for it. It just took a while to go, and some of it was weird, like the Jennifer Carpenter part was odd. The crazy guys in the armored car, the part where they were just killing people at, it showed a little like the yeah. So I mean,
enjoyed it.
It was crazy, but I enjoyed it. I don't know if I'd watch it again, but I actually kind of liked it. David?
So like you said, it took a minute to get into. Alexa, how long was the film Dragged Across Concrete?
3 hours and 50 minutes.
No, she's not going to answer me. So if it was like an hour and 47 minutes, it took me an hour and 47 minutes to get into it. This movie sucked. It was just not good. It was deadpan. It wasn't even humor. It was just this deadpan talk. I don't know if you noticed, but there's no friggin' music in the movie either. And it's just these two cops who I really wanted to have. I mean, they had a good rapport, but I wanted them to get more into, the funny stuff. Or like, I see Mel Gibson as a cop with another dude, and I'm like, lethal weapon. It's gonna be funny. Not funny. There's very few funny parts. There's a couple of, yeah, okay, that was cool. But overall, this thing is so slow. I just sat there like this. I got up to get a drink. I came back, and the best part of the movie which was 4 seconds, was over, which was when they're robbing the bank. It's kind of a heist movie. These two cops get suspended for being rough on a drug dealer, and they're like, "Yeah, we can't survive on this. Let's go do crimes, bro." And so they go do crimes, and the crimes that they're doing is to steal the take from these bank robbers. But what they don't know is that these bank robbers are these vicious friggin' ex-military bastards, and it doesn't go their way. It doesn't go anybody's way, really. Yeah. Skittles, it goes his way. What's his name?
Oh, Tory Kittles.
Kittles, yeah. So Skittles is the only winner here. Well, I guess the wife and daughter are winners too. But yeah, it's, for me, this is not a movie I will ever watch again. And I know that this is the type of movie that everybody else in the world will like. It's just that it was not for me. I'm going to say. Go ahead.
I'm going to say that I think that you're probably speaking for a large part of the people who saw this movie.
Maybe. I don't know. I would actually recommend this movie, even though I didn't like it, because I think a lot of people will like it. It's just I'm overly picky when it comes to this type of movie, and it wasn't what I wanted, and I understand that that's kind of on me, but still, it was so goddamn slow that somebody needed a slap. So that's where I'm going to stand on this one.
I will give you, it was slow. It took me a while to get into it, but once it got going, I really liked it. I liked the rapport between Gibson and Vaughn.
I did too, Alan. But there, like I said, there was a lot of pieces in this that made it. By the way, it was 2 hours and 39 minutes. Is how long this movie was.
Oh, damn!
2 hours and 39 minutes, too long.
But there were a lot. Like I said, there were a lot of pieces. Like, again, going back to the Mel Gibson character, he's close to retiring. He hasn't done that well. He's still being partnered with guys that are 20 years younger than him. He's got a sick wife, which is where his money's going, Alan. That's why they're living where they're at, because she can't work. He's having to,
I was thinking he should retire and then move somewhere else and get a part-time job,
Well,
He should be a security guard in Nevada.
There you go.
There's this golf course I know.
There's a random pooping problem with
the Phantom Pooper is there.
There you go.
Fix that up for some people.
And nobody died.
Yeah. But you had the Vince Vaughn character who is, he's met this woman. He wants to get married. He's wanting to have this great life with her. She's a cut above him, and he's wanting to buy her an engagement ring that's worthy of her in his estimate. And then you have the guy that's just got out of prison, and he comes home, and his mom's like turning tricks with his brother, who is an invalid in a wheelchair in the next room, and he like throws a fit. So he's involved in the heist because he wants to rescue his family out of the dire situation they're in. So everyone has a story, and everyone's got, well, except for the bad guys, well, we don't really know their story. But there are so many characters in it that did have a backstory that was interesting to see where it was going to come together. So it had a lot of potential, and the acting was phenomenal, but the story was just, the pieces just didn't come together like I was hoping.
I can see that bouncing around in Rich's head right now.
Yeah, I got a story. Nobody wants to hear my story. Right? My story's boring, just like these guys. I don't get it. It just so some of the banter, like they would go off and talk to each other, and they would use these like Mel Gibson would use these 50-cent words, and I thought that was going to actually go someplace, but it never did. It just stagnated, and I wanted to hear more of that.
Okay.
I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to that. But
Here's something that caught me. I don't know if anybody else caught it. Mel Gibson puts that mask on, right? And he goes, "We're just here for the bullion."
Yeah.
And what was the other part? There was another part. Oh, just walk away. And I'm thinking, is that Mad Max? Are they doing a Road Warrior?
I don't know.
Because you
I
put
didn't
that on.
think of that actually. That makes this whole movie fantastic now. What was
There you go.
Alan Gamboa, you just fixed everything. Holy Christ.
That's what I'm here for, brother. I'm here to help you through these movies you hate.
All right.
Well, what the hell was somebody turn on a vacuum? Was there
That was
a tornado? What just
something
happened?
with
That.
Yeah, that.
That's
Wow.
that's my microphone on my headphones.
she's dragging something across.
I know, right? She's
Dragging something across
across
concrete.
Oh,
Yeah.
good Lord.
And Ashel says Den of Thieves was awesome. Yeah, well, that was a better
Oh,
movie.
it is.
Yeah, it was much better, but this is the one we watched. So.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I couldn't watch movie number 2. Kilo 2 Bravo, FYI, is an English movie, but I could not understand a word they said. I understood antibiotics. That was about 20 minutes in, and I said, I'm sorry, Mr. Gamboa, I can't watch your movie this week.
Oh, let's rank Drag Across Concrete. Then we'll get into mine. And you guys can snark it up. You two can snark it up. What do you give this, Hadley?
I'm going to give it a 3.
All right, Rich.
I will give this a 1.9 because it's not too worthy. Maybe
I'll
not.
give it a 3 because I won't watch it again. That's almost 3 hours of my life that I'd rather watch Thanksgiving 4. But I do recommend it. And it's good to see Don Johnson in something. You don't see him much anymore.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was good.
Yeah. All right. Bravo 2 Kilo is the movie I picked. It's an English movie. It's a true story about, I think it's 8th Para. They're out in Afghanistan and they trip into a minefield. One of them, there's an explosion. One of them gets wounded. The rest of the troops respond. And it's just a cluster after that. It's just one explosion after another. Helicopters coming in, big helicopters coming in, too big to land, and throwing the rocks up and setting off the mines and guys stepping, setting off the mine. To me, it was really intense. And I watched it with subtitles so you could read the dialogue because I couldn't understand. I'm like you two. I couldn't understand a lot of what they said because they used a lot of the slang and the accents were really thick. And then you had some Scottish guys and they've got their really thick accents, But it was intense. It was the rescue of I think like 4 or 5 of them that were wounded by these mines, and it's a true story. And at the end of the movie, it shows what happens to the soldiers there. It's really intense. It's one of my top 10, I think, war flicks.
Well, I was really looking forward to watching it. So I have to say I was disappointed because it's based on actual events that did happen.
Yeah.
And it's not often that I'm sure y'all probably do more than me, but it's not often that I find a foreign war movie that's taken place in modern times that, I might want to watch. But I could not understand a freaking word. I heard antibiotics at one point, and that was it. And I was like, I just don't know that I can do this for 2 hours. And so I've just Rich was giving some feedback about his thoughts on it, and I just decided, well, I'm not even gonna bother. So, um, when it comes, it's on Tubi currently, and when it gets on to another thing that I can watch it with subtitles, I plan on watching it.
Yeah, watch it definitely with subtitles because it's a whole different. Because I tried to watch it once without subtitles. I'm like, I'm just lost in what they're saying. You know,
Yeah.
there's so much
It's
their military jargon that they use. You know, and you're just like, what? You know,
yeah, I mean it's totally foreign. I do better with like Chinese subtitles, believe it or not. And it was just it wasn't enjoyable. I mean, you couldn't grasp on enough to get what was happening.
yeah. And actually, there's a couple guys in the dome that served with some of those guys. So that's kind of neat. But Rich,
So my superhero power is knowing when they use fake dinosaurs in movies. But after that, it would be being able to understand people. So I was okay with that. It was I understand people who are speaking English, not American. I was okay. I was able to figure that out. I mean, most of it. It was some of it was tricky, but this is the best movie that I didn't watch. It was really well acted. The scenery is just bleak because it's desert scrub Afghanistan. So the cinematography was great. I didn't finish this movie. I turned it off because to me this was a goddamn torture movie. Is what it was. It was a group of guys. I thought it was going to be a group of guys fending off an Afghani insurgent attack. That is not what it is. It's they're on patrol. Three guys are on patrol. And they walk into a minefield, bada boom. One guy gets his legs blown off. And it is extremely graphic. Now, me, I don't mind a zombie coming in and ripping some dude apart and then chewing on his face. I can deal with that. But when there's a guy laying there screaming because his leg's blown off and it's just shredded, I'm okay with one of those, and then we have to move on, So then it happens again, and then it happens again, and then it happens again. So after the fourth one, I'm like, dude, I'm out. This is nasty. And it was about this group of like 10 guys that are in this gully, and there's mines everywhere. There's these mines that they can't see. And they're working on one of the guys, and they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah. And there's a mine under the guy, and boom, and they blow up again. I'm like, oh my God, are you freaking kidding me? Helicopter comes in, stirs up the rocks like Alan said, boom. I was, oh my God, it was awful. It was just, I don't like the Saw movies because it's just torture, and that is what this is to me. One thing I did learn about when I was watching this movie is that there are 10 million undiscovered Russian mines dumped in Afghanistan. So that country is just screwed forever.
Well, did you get that part where they were talking about they weren't really in a minefield? They were in a gully where the mines had washed.
Yeah, exactly. They washed into it. Yeah.
Yeah. That was chilling. That was really chilling there.
So, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I that was really, to me, that was really chilling when they said that, because it's like, it could, you can have two mines right next to each other,
Exactly. And that's what was going on. So this movie done right would have been absolutely terrifying. But I was just so angry that I was just watching guys blow up that I just got pissed off and turned it off. Excuse me. Like I said, I'm not into the torture stuff, and that's what this was for me. It was just, I was just waiting for the next person to die. And actually nobody died. Well, one guy died, Alan said, but I didn't get that far because after the fourth mine, I was like, I'm out. I'm done. I couldn't watch that shit anymore.
But isn't that the reality of war?
Yeah, I'm not saying it wasn't real. For realism, this thing gets a 10 out of 10. It was perfect. And like I said, this is a good movie. This is not a bad movie in any way. It's just a movie that I couldn't handle because I don't like seeing that happen, and understanding the realism of it. Like the movie Patriots Day, fantastic movie. Well, when that cop is standing over that dead little boy for 18 hours, I'm like, oh my God, it was just awful. It's really hard to get through. And that's kind of what this was for me. This was just, it was too difficult. I mean, I haven't been in that situation where I've been in a minefield, but I can't even imagine what those guys must have gone through. They're all heroes for sure, but I couldn't handle it. I couldn't deal with it, and I was like, "F this, I'm out," and I left. So
Yeah, no, I get that, Rich. I get that because there's parts where they're screaming and some of the wounds, and they're trying to, and the guys, the med, there's like two medics, and one's just stressed out, kind of shuts down, and then one he had kind of stressed out, shut down, and then he had to pull himself out and get on there. There's a part where to get to the guys that are wounded, he's got to throw his backpack down, no mind, jumps on his backpack, throws it, no mind. Yeah, in that scene, you're just like, you just know he's gonna hit it, So I get that. Because it was pretty intense, and there was a lot of screaming, and nah, I get that. But the upside, I was gonna, like I told you before, only, but one of the soldiers dies. The other, I think it's 3 or 4 that are wounded that lost limbs. They were able to get back active in life. One of them even was able to make selection with, SAS and be able to become one of the first. I don't want to say disabled, but
no, that's the good word. That's the right word.
Disabled SAS members. So, and the other guy, a couple guys became skydivers. So they kept going. The guys that got wounded, they didn't shut down. I'm sure they probably shut down at some time in their life, but they were able to pick themselves up and continue. So it didn't end with everybody dying, and so it kind of showed that they persevered despite all that. It was an intense movie, man. I teared up at the end.
Oh, and that's what I mean. And I didn't want to get there. I didn't want to tear up, and I could see that happening after.
Oh yeah.
Whoever did the makeup on this was, oh my God, because hamburger. I mean, think about it. Think about actual hamburger, and that's what the first guy that stepped on the mine. That's what his leg was. Yeah. His right leg was damaged, or his left leg was damaged, but his right leg was just gone from like mid shin down, and it's hanging like this. It's just, and then on top of that, the freaking helicopter comes in and it's blowing dust all over these guys' wounds. It was like, oh my God, it was awful. Extremely well done. The makeup artist was great. The fear factor was, it was 15 out of 10, just sitting there waiting to blow up, but I had to turn that shit off. It was not a bad movie.
So I think it would be safe to say that this movie has a trigger warning.
Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, mind trigger.
Yeah. I mean, it's intense. It's not one of those movies. Then you go to bed going, hey. Yeah. It really is. And then when it shows you the actor and then the real character, and you're like, oh, I got something in my, So.
Well, utmost love and respect to all the people who served, because.
For sure.
Yeah.
They give. I mean, especially when you see guys like that who really have sacrificed it all.
Yeah.
Well,
they've got one guy in there. He's wounded, and they keep giving him morphine. And he's just screaming. Come find out later that he's allergic to morphine, so it doesn't affect. He's one of those rare people that morphine doesn't do anything to. Yeah. So he was in pain for all those hours that were out there, extreme pain, But, well, I'm sorry.
No, man, no. Like I said, this is not a movie to be sorry over. This is a good movie. Everything about this movie was great, except for my take on it. It was not a movie I could go through.
Yeah. Well, certain movies do that. There's just.
Yeah.
There's movies I can't watch those Terrifier movies because it's too much for me.
I've never watched one, and that's exactly what I'm talking about. To me, there's no need for that, and I understand that we live in a society where people just love gore, and I don't mind the gore, but to me, those Terrifier movies, like I said, I've never seen one, but it looks senseless to me. It looks like senseless, slicing of people, and I don't need that shit.
Didn't we watch one?
I have
No.
never seen one.
We
I haven't seen. There was a movie where Art the Clown starts out in that I think we watched.
We watched that one. Yeah,
I didn't see it. I didn't see that.
You were in Florida.
Oh, maybe
That's when Cecil sat in for you.
That's right. That's right. Well, I guess
it was his movie choice. It was Cecil's movie.
That's right. That's right. Well, I guess I'll rate this. I'll give this one a 5.
Nice.
That's just I really dug this movie, and 5. I recommend it. But like Rich said, if it's really intense and the gore effects are realistic, the fear factors there. So if that's something that really turns you off from watching, don't watch it. But good acting, good story.
Yeah. Hadley? You didn't.
I couldn't understand them.
No.
Make sure you have subtitles enabled.
Yeah. Watch it with subtitles, folks. Watch it with subtitles.
Although I turned this movie off, I feel it would be unfair of me to give this movie anything less than a 4.
Wow.
And I know that doesn't make a lot of sense to people. How could you turn a movie off that was so good? It was because I just couldn't handle it. I could not watch these guys just getting blown up like that. So I will give this movie a 4. And honestly, I would recommend this movie if you can handle everything I just said. If that doesn't bother you, if you don't mind watching that type of thing, or you can just get past it, then that's okay. Go for it.
Right on. Right on. Well, there we go. Our next movie is Weekend at Dave Bautista's Cabin. What, knock on the door? Is it knock on the door at the cabin?
Knock on the cabin? Knock at the cabin.
Do you want to do this one?
I don't even know what I called it. I might have called it knock on the cabin door.
Yeah.
Would you like to do this one since Hadley did
this one?
Do it.
So this is the new film. I think it just came out the past few months.
Yeah.
It's on Peacock if you want to watch it. And basically, this is a story of this family of 2 same-sex partners, these 2 guys, and their little daughter, who is absolutely adorable, by the way. I don't know who she was. She's so cute. She's about 7 or 8. They're in this cabin. They're enjoying themselves, and they're having a little vacation. These 4 people come in, extremely polite, very nice, and they're like, hey, the world's going to end, so we're going to capture you guys and tie you up, and one of the 3 of you has to die, and the other 2 have to kill that person. So we're going to be sitting back here, and we're going to watch you do that. And we're going to turn on the TV so that you can see all this, this bad stuff happening. There's going to be these plagues, and, the sky is going to fall, and it's going to be terrible. And, of course, the people that are tied up in the chairs are like, you're fucking crazy, bro. That's just the stupidest thing I've ever heard, which is exactly how I would go. So Dave Bautista and Ron Weasley and 2 people that I didn't know are like, they're these people, and they have these weapons, and they're homemade weapons, which were actually pretty cool looking. And they're kind of hanging out with this group of people they have just tied up. And then all of a sudden they're like, Rupert Grint, who's Ron Weasley, he's like, oh, I'm so scared. I don't know what to do. And he gets down on his knees, puts his hood on his head, and they kill him. And I'm like, what? What is this? And so the reason they killed him is because there's like a length of time. And for every length of time that one of those 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, if you want to go down that route, for every length of time that the other group doesn't kill one of their own, they have to die. So they had these visions. They're from 4 different parts of the United States. They have these visions, and they all met like on the road on this boardwalk to come and talk to these people into killing one of their loved ones. Dave Bautista is, of course, this big, enormous guy. He's got these glasses on. He's like, yeah, I'm a school teacher. I'm a coach, and blah, blah. And they're all given their, what they do. and it was unbelievably asinine. The whole situation was absurd. Yeah, there's a little fear to it. Each one of the people gets killed along the way. And they're saying, you got to kill this person, you got to kill this person. And the other two, the two dads are like, we're not going to do this. This is absurd. And then they start watching the TV, and this shit's actually happening. You're watching this big giant tsunami comes in Hawaii, I think, and then another one comes in. Was it Washington State, Oregon?
Yeah,
it was in the Northwest, and like lots of people are getting killed. And they're like, nope, it's not real. You recorded it, blah, blah, which is pretty much what I would do. And then, more of the four weirdos die for the same thing, and they keep moving on. And then Dave Bautista stands up, and he's like, he starts reciting what's going to happen on the television as, a live recording. And he's like, this was in my vision. I got this. And now the guys are like, that's kind of weird. I won't tell you what happens or how it ends, but it was weird. This is an M. Night Shyamalan film, and I think I like one of his movies, Signs. I think all the rest of them just kind of suck donkeys, and this is no exception. This is not a good film. There wasn't a lot about this that I enjoyed. I love Dave Bautista. He's a great actor, and honestly, the little girl was adorable. She was so
yeah.
But I guess I'll just kind of leave it there. I'll give my rating when we give ratings, but I would not recommend this film to anyone ever for any time. It's just no. Who you got, big guy? Hadley.
I have a mixed bag of snark. First off, unlike my predecessor, I actually do like M. Night Shyamalan's books, his movies. So this wasn't.
His books suck.
Does he even write? But I like his. I love Signs. I like The Village. I like the lady in the which was the one?
Water. Lady in the water.
The lady in the water. I like his stuff, but this one, it was just. There were some aspects of it that were just stupid. They're just bad choices. The acting wasn't bad. The acting was good all the way around, but it just didn't really make a lot of sense.
That was dumb.
Yeah, it had. And I'm gonna say this. Shoot me if you want, but and that was the problem. It's all about the gun. The gun was my biggest problem with this movie. They have a gun for protection. It's locked, unloaded, and the clip, it doesn't even have bullets in it in their car. They did not even get it out. And I get they have a small child, and maybe that was why. But at the same time, why would you have a gun in the cabin in the woods when it's in the trunk of your car?
Unloaded. No magazine.
Unloaded and locked. Yeah. There's snakes. I live in a place where there's snakes, and you might want to shoot the snake if you saw one. And a lot of this problem that they had could have been solved if they had that gun inside the house with them.
Yeah, it would have been over in 5 minutes and been a much better movie.
Yeah.
But
you want to come in the house? Bang! Nope.
I like the way that he did the Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse. It was I'd never thought about doing something that way, so I like that aspect of it. I liked how the actors were very afraid. They were afraid. They weren't menacing. They weren't. Well, that one lady was kind of scary.
Yeah. The eyes.
She's kind of intense.
Terrifying. Yeah.
But she wanted to feed everybody. But yeah, so there are some things about it that I did like, but for the most part, it just didn't come together for me. And I like the apocalypse, but this was not the version that I really like. So, Alan?
Oh, I like to call this one Weekend at Dave Bautista's house. And I don't think I would go to one of his barbecues after watching this thing. I thought it would be boring. Here's a plus. I thought it would be boring, but it wasn't. It kind of moved fast. It actually moved faster than I thought it would. I thought M. Night Shyamalan, ding a ding a dong dong.
That guy, yeah.
That guy. I thought he did a good job as far as moving the movie along. You know, because I thought it'd be like, you know, because he threw enough flash stuff in to keep it going. I thought. This is my opinion on it. But I don't know. You know,
the word is sucked.
I don't think it sucked though. I mean,
I didn't think it was.
It sucked.
I didn't think it was a horrible film.
It was a horrible film.
I'm glad I didn't pay to go see it.
yes. I'm glad I didn't pay my $3.
Yeah, it's not his best flick either. There wasn't really a twist to it either. I mean, because you kind of thought, okay, maybe these people are crazy because they were some of the footage, you know, oh, this is recorded, you know, and kind of put a doubt, and then finding out who Ron Weasley really is, you know, you're like, okay, but you know, are these people crazy?
That right there was the best part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Was that little tale. I mean, because that should have been, I guess, fleshed out more. I mean, it just that was the most interesting part of it.
That's a good word though for this movie, fleshed out.
I could have flushed this movie.
I mean, I didn't hate it. I didn't like it. It was a movie, and it moved faster than Dragged Across Concrete.
Everything moved. I got a snail, a pet.
But I like
that movie.
I like that movie. But this one, I don't know. There just was no. I don't know.
There was no payoff. There was no payoff.
Exactly. There was no payoff. It was, you know, the ending's like, well, okay, you know, it could have used a big twist, I think. You know?
Exactly. Like the Village. That movie, The Village. Big twist at the end. And honestly, I thought it was something like that, but I didn't see that coming in The Village. And it was great. You know, it was really well done. The rest of the movie sucked, but that twist was pretty good.
Well,
but this thing was just, it was awful.
Well, you remember how at the beginning there was like this whole, they weren't expecting it to be My Two Dads.
Mm-hmm. No, because I saw the commercials and stuff, and they pushed that. So I was like, oh, I knew it was going to be My Two Dads.
Well, I know, I mean, we all did, but I'm saying like Batista didn't know, and he seemed to allude to like that might be a problem.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what's the problem with the two dads? You know, I kept waiting for there to be something about that. I mean, like you said, it's just there was no twist, there was no nothing. It was just like at times I wondered if this was based on a play.
It's based on a book. There's a book.
Book.
So he does write.
Yeah. Although no, it's Paul Tremblay. It's Paul Tremblay's book.
So the thing about the whole point of this is that you have to kill someone. You have to sacrifice someone that you love in order to save everyone else.
Yeah.
And I guess when you look at, you know, back at like Noah's Ark and all that stuff, maybe that was the same gig, and Noah didn't want to sacrifice anybody, so he built a boat. But this, whoever's making me choose, you know, to sacrifice someone I love over, you know, Earth, can kiss my ass. The hell with them. And this is, I watched this with a friend of mine, and I was talking about it at the time, and I was like, no, I'll let the goddamn world burn. I'm not killing somebody I love. The hell with that. This world sucks as it is anyway. It's already on fire. Just let it go. So I mean, I don't understand how you can make that choice. I don't know. And that's I guess why I would not be chosen to make that choice, because I wouldn't make it.
Well, if you see Dave Bautista at your door, don't answer it.
Yeah, right. Well, the downside is if they don't make the choice, everybody else dies but them. They live forever in constant darkness. So You know what? I got a flashlight. I'm all right.
But I'm gonna have to say this: when they said what kind of world would they be leaving, when was the
Mhm.
daughter's name?
Yeah.
And that's the point. Is I mean, that she would once they died, they if they did not sacrifice now, they're jeopardizing her whole longevity because they're not
Yeah.
going to live forever.
I
And then
get
what
that.
kind of
Actually, they were going to live forever. That was part of the punishment. The guy said you'll have cosmic life for the forever, and you won't die on this planet. Everything's going to be dark. All the other people are going to be dead. Blah blah. So they weren't going to die. They were going to stay alive as torture and penance for not doing whatever supreme being made this stupid bargain.
The deaths were pretty brutal too,
Yes. Yeah.
Especially Ron Weasley's.
poor Ron Weasley.
Pretty bad.
Cast the spell, buddy.
I didn't hate this movie. I hated The Happening more than this movie. Have you ever seen The Happening?
That's
With
the
Mark
Mark
Wahlberg?
Lance.
Marky
It's
The
Mark.
Lance taking over the world. Yeah.
The acting in that was horrible. In this one, the acting was pretty good.
Yeah, it wasn't bad.
Yeah. So, I mean, but I wouldn't recommend this movie. I wouldn't. It's a movie that Shyamalan made. Peacock picked it up, and I watched it with my wife, and we both felt the same way. So.
Yeah, it definitely missed the mark.
Yeah. And then there's people that love this movie, but no.
I don't know why they loved it. So insofar as
They lost me at the guns, but I mean, but then again, I mean, you have this little girl alone in the woods, and here comes, I mean, of all the people in the world to come up and to make you wish that your child understood stranger danger, here comes Dave Bautista.
Yeah, yeah.
And I mean, he seems very pleasant, but I mean, that's kind of pedophile-y,
Yeah.
So there's just so many. It was just a weird movie.
Yeah, I agree.
And he was, by the way, the Dave Bautista character was extremely nice and pleasant. But at the same time, I mean, that's not who you want your young child to be talking to alone in the woods, unsupervised.
a psychopath vision having murderer, I agree.
Yeah, it was. What about the poor grasshoppers that were in that jar that didn't have holes in the top?
I had toes. I saw.
It did have holes.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
She knew what she was doing. I told you, adorable kid. So rating this movie, I'll give it 1 for the acting, and I'll give it 1 for the cute kid, and that's it, because nothing else worked. So I'm going to give it a 2.
I liked it more than that.
That's okay.
I'm going to give it a 3.
Ooh.
It was just kind of It's kind of middle of the road.
I'll give it a 2. I think this and The Happening are like 2 of his worst. Yeah, I didn't enjoy this one. It just, when it was done, it was done. So thumbs down on that. Dave Bautista's Cabin in the Woods.
What else are you guys watching? What are you watching, Alan?
I am watching The Night Agent on Netflix. We just finished that. It's fun. It's fun. It's a fun. Don't watch it seriously. It's just a secret FBI agent on the run. Shady government dealings. Likable characters. Worth the watch, I think.
All right.
It's Kiefer Sutherland show. Rabbit Hole is not bad. Got some weird twist to it.
I haven't seen it. Is it out yet?
Yeah, it's on Paramount Plus. It's every Sunday. There's 2 episodes out right now.
Okay.
He's like Jack Bauer Light.
Jack Bauer Light.
Jack Bauer Light, but it's interesting. So I don't know if it's going to be any good, but it's interesting.
What about you, Hadley? What are you watching right now?
I just finished Daisy Jones and the Six on Amazon Originals. It's kind of inspired by the Fleetwood Mac thing, and I enjoyed it. It was okay. I mean, it was nothing to write home about, but you know,
You write
I
home about that?
did not write home. But so, and then I started watching Class of 2007,
Never heard of it.
which
What is that?
it's on Amazon, and it's an Australian, I guess, like series about the apocalypse that strikes at this girls' school on the weekend of their class reunion, and it's just bloody ridiculous. And so I'm like two, maybe three episodes in, and it's just kind of silly and funny.
Ah.
So it's not a serious apocalyptic thing, but it's kind of funny. But I mean, it's all girls, and it's you know how bitchy women are together. So I'm sure y'all know nothing about that.
How about you, Rich?
Well, I just finished Carnival Row. That was pretty good. A little weird. It's about Fae versus humans. It's definitely an attack on racism, but it was good. What the heck else did I just watch? I watched something I can't remember. But I've been watching Ted Lasso. Hadley told me about Ted Lasso, and that's that's a great show. It's a sitcom, and I'm not a sitcom guy, and I love this show. It's more of like a half hour a month, a half hour a week drama. I don't know that I would call it a sitcom, but it does have its funny parts. I have laughed out loud several times, so maybe
Good.
you can't call it a sitcom.
It is funny. It is some of the best writing. It's some of the best
I
writing.
agree. And some of the one-liners and some of the stuff that Jason Sudeikis stars in this film, in this show, and some of the stuff he says, you got to listen carefully or you'll miss it, and it's just great. And he's got what's the bearded guy? What's his name? Coach Beard. He's also very funny. Everyone in the show is funny. It's great. And I highly recommend this show. It's if you haven't watched Ted Lasso, give it a watch. Give it like 4 episodes, and you'll be hooked. The hooks will be in there.
I have to watch it. I'll definitely watch it. I'm looking for something. So.
Oh, I tell everyone. I mean, I started watching it. It was recommended to me, and I've got Apple TV on my iPhone, but not on my TV.
Right.
And I watched one episode. I binge watched. I could barely see by the end of the weekend that I watched this, but I watched 2 seasons of it on my cell phone, and it is so good. And then I rewatched it, and because with the new season it has just started. So and then my wonderful friend put it on his Plex. I'm not going to name names in case the people are listening. But so I've watched it again on Plex. I've seen it like 3 or 4 times now, and I love it. It is the best show. If you like witty, fast, smart dialogue, this is the thing. It's just really good. It's positive. So it's something like, I mean, you can watch when you just need something light to watch, because some of the stuff we watch is really heavy. Which I know Alan and I think both watched Mayors of Kingstown. Rich has just started it, so no spoilers. But it's some really heavy stuff, and it's hard to go from that to something else kind of heavy, you know. So Ted Lasso is a good way to break it up.
Yeah, I'm gonna start watching that stuff.
Definitely worth it, Alan. Absolutely worth it. It's just
definitely
a lot of it's dark British humor, and it's mixed with American dumbassery, and some of the one-liners he has, like pop culture references, are just you got to pay attention, or you're gonna miss it. So it's great. Like he'll just say it in conversation, and you're like, I got that. That type of thing.
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Really cute.
Like I said, The Night Agent's good. It's not anything deep. You'll figure out the conspiracy and everything, you know, but it's just fun, gunplay, you know. I think it's worth a watch. It's nothing different than Netflix has put out before, you know what I mean? Any of those type of shows. But it's fun. And the main character is likable. So if you're looking for some action on Netflix, The Night Agent's it.
Well, if y'all missed, was it Tuesday night? The Wild Women of Weird recorded. If y'all listen to that, if you got nothing else going on, because we had a good time and we had a good talk. But we talked about that McDonald's conspiracy. Remember when the guy was calling McDonald's and he was pretending to be a cop and he was getting those managers to strip search their employees?
Oh yeah.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, he called like 103 different places that are, it's recorded. But yes,
We actually about that. I can't think of the name.
well, the one that we focused on was about the girl that sued McDonald's and won.
Good.
But she was it was like she was raped. I mean, it was really bad what happened to her. So don't mean to make light of that, but we had a good time. Y'all should go listen to it if you have some time. Finley Jones is doing a great job with it, and as y'all know, Crystal Michelle has taken over Weird Murders, Mysteries, and Mayhem for me. So show some love to Crystal. She's got some good shows coming up too. Always, y'all know the Blondes books and Campfire Tales are every other Wednesday. I think they'll be back this coming Wednesday. Tomorrow night on Weird Awakenings, there's a guy that I know by the name of Jason Lee who's going to be talking about sound healing therapy. I don't know if you've ever heard of a sound bath, but he does like crystal bowls, and he's fascinating. But he's going to be on. Other than that, what y'all got going on?
I did a interview yesterday, podcast yesterday with D.A. Roberts, and that's floating around somewhere. That was fun. Talk movies and books and stuff. I mentioned you guys and gave you guys a shout out in there, and that was fun. So if you see it floating around and they go 2 hours, and I had a good time, but I think our hour show is just right.
Yeah.
I love DA. DA's great. He's good people.
Yes, definitely good time.
I need to talk to him sometime about partnering up with us.
Yeah.
He is a good guy.
And on lowballing, we're waiting for Joe's got some health issues, nothing serious, but we're waiting for him to take care of those so he can get back to grilling people. How about you, Rich?
Oh, I just day before yesterday, I sent off a story for an anthology. It's the newest Unleashed one from Skywatcher Press.
Good.
But I haven't heard anything back yet, so I don't know if they like the story or not. You know who didn't like the story? Was this guy. I didn't like it. I wrote it, and I'm like, it's all right. But I've done that before, and people have liked the story, so hopefully they'll do that. I'm up to 80,000 words on the new Theories book, and that vampire tank thing, it's just kind of sitting there. But I'll get back to it soon. That's about it.
What thought I saw like you were in won an award for some anthology you were on. What was that?
Oh yeah, that was the same people. It was a different Undead. It was Undead Unleashed. It was on Written Undead. They do an award thing each year for like 4 different categories, and we won for best new zombie book, I think.
Cool.
Yeah,
hey, for zombie book. I want to put this in. I'm sorry, Rich, to cut you off, but you're up for Zombie Book of the Month Club. So anybody a member of that group, vote for Rich.
Yeah, vote for
Rich.
Yeah.
April 2023.
Yep. Vote. Your vote counts.
I had honestly forgotten about it. Yeah, go vote.
He asked if I had nominated him. I said no.
Yeah, I don't know who put me up.
It'll say, look on it, and it'll say who added you, I think. So.
Awesome.
But good. I voted
for you, Hadley. What are you into?
Oh, I did a great interview with the guys over at We're in the Folk last weekend. I think it's up and floating around. And I think we spent 30 minutes talking about dogs. So we had a good time. I always love spending time with Tully and Cecil. They're some of my favorite folks.
Good guys.
Yep. They're great.
And, So yeah, I did that. I've got some interviews with the Metaphysical Mississippi ladies, and I've actually got another one. I'm on a panel with them where we talked about some of the March women's stuff. So I'll be sure to share that stuff when I see it. But for the most part, I got a day job now, and so I'm tired a lot. No longer freelancing at home and able to do all my weird stuff as much. So, but yeah, I got my book got released on the 17th, and it's selling. And
Good.
I've got like some marketing stuff coming up with that. I think in April, so y'all might see more of it around. But other than that, I'm just hanging out with you guys on Thursdays is my priority right now.
Nice.
My birthday.
Yeah, Alan, I'm to the way through Hunt the Night. She's in the cemetery. So
Where are you at?
she's in the cemetery.
Oh, okay. I don't like that look on your face, man.
Well, I like it. It's good. It's very good. Honestly, man, I think you got your own goddamn galaxy from all the stars I've given you. So don't worry about that.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, Boa can write.
You know what? We're our own worst enemies.
Honestly, agreed. I got Hadley's new book, Dawnbreaker, came out a couple weeks ago, and it came yesterday. I think it was supposed to come Tuesday, and it came yesterday. So it's upstairs, and once again, meant to bring it down here and flash it to everybody, but I forgot it. It's upstairs. So maybe next week I'll get both of you.
Nice.
Well, guys, that's going to do it for this week. So we will see y'all next week. But by the way, my birthday is coming up, remember, and we're going to have to do a watch party. If some people want to participate, be sure to leave us a message and let us know. We'll see what we can do.
Details will follow.
That's right.
Good night, everybody.
All right, folks.
Stay weird, guys.